Today's adventure, day 4 of our Viking European Sojourn river cruise, Transylvania Extension. So after breakfast at our hotel in Brasov, we took a 45-minute bus ride to get to Bran Castle. Bran Castle was made famous by the author Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker wrote the novel Dracula in the late 1800s, I think 1897 if I got that correctly, so the 19th century. Bram Stoker was never in Transylvania, but he looked at literature and books and so forth, and found information on the folk stories of the area. And from there, he wrote his novel Dracula. And the castle in the town of Bran most resembled basically the castle as described in the book Dracula. So a whole tourist industry was developed around Dracula, and Bran Castle became the focal point. So your bus will drop you off just outside of the complex, which is Bran Castle. I was told it's more of a fortress, meaning that there was actually military guards that were stationed here, as opposed to a castle where people actually lived within the building itself and stayed there, and there was more than just the military. Anyways, you leave your bus and it's about a 10 to 15 minute walk through the grounds and up to the castle. I didn't find it very difficult, but it is an incline, so if you have some mobility issues, it could be a bit of a challenge. The grounds outside the castle are several ponds and a walking path, so you can see the castle from various sides, which we really enjoyed doing. And just outside the gates into the castle, there's quite a large bazaar where you can buy lots of souvenirs. So there are no bathroom facilities in Bran Castle that are open to the public. So our Viking host or tour guide had us wait, and people needing the restroom went to the left. And then once everybody returned to our meeting spot, we ascended these stairs and we entered into Bran Castle.
Wow, câtă lume e, mami.
The castle was built firstly in the 13th century, early in the 13th century that is, and housed the Teutonic Knights, which I believe is an order of the Crusaders. But the person we're most interested here is Vlad Tepes, who I guess in English terms was Vlad the Impaler, who Bram Stoker, the novelist, modeled Dracula after. The other people of note here are the royal family of Romania, who own the castle to this day, and it's in private hands still.
In medieval castles, steps were not that wide. Because the invaders were coming, it was hard for them to climb up the steps. Okay, the tour will end near the wishing well in this interior yard here. So I'm gonna wait for everyone at the wishing well to make sure I have everyone back safe and sound. As you're going in, harmony, again, religion. And eventually, in her later years, she decided to be a Baha'i. Baha'i is a religion that borrows principles from the three monotheists. We're going to be immersing the council during medieval times. So we're going to see somehow the birth certificate of the Bram Castle, written in German, Old German. This is the one that it is somehow believed to be the order through which the castle was built. This is the coat of arms on the defense shield. We have the coat of arms of Transylvania, but of German Transylvania. So the Transylvanian belonged to the Hungarian kingdom. As you can see, there's several fortresses. That's how many cities were built by the Germans in Transylvania. We see again the structure. As you can see, just carved.
One of the most interesting thing about the castle is that during some renovation work, they found this secret stairway that led up to the next floor, and you had to pass through a bookcase. This was, I think, in the late 1800s they discovered it when they wanted to put a stove against that wall, and when they were removing the plaster, they found the stairway.
Yep, there it is.
Watch your head.
Watch your head.
Watch your head.
Duck again.
Duck goose. Duck.
You're my way, mate. You! Come on, have a photo.
Before down now. Okay, I'm getting down a bit. We're gonna talk about it.
We were told that every time the bell rings, an angel gets his wings, so obviously the tourists were up there, and as they passed, they rang the bell.
Tourists staying here very often. As you can see, it's way more modest compared to what we saw at Spanish Castle.
There's the wishing well. We can see it from here.
Yeah, so
There's an elevator down, huh?
Remember I told you the castle was this romantic princess? She believes she saw an angel on his balcony. That's why, like in the movie, there's some bells, and if you read there's sort of a railing on the left. It's not very wide. You can also keep a hand over to the wall on the right. And again, if you are taller, mind your head.
Due tamanho de espada, foi o tamanho de espada, se for com água. Okay, so just keep on climbing down. At one point, they will try to trick you to climb more steps up. You don't have to do that.
Must be the fairies.
It's
I mean, that menace cannot lure anyone, but
So after descending from the roof on the next floor, they tried to accentuate the mythology of Romania. So they had some, I wouldn't say interactive, but some displays with videos of werewolves and vampires and so forth. Just trying to bring to light some of the things that inspired Bram Stoker when he wrote his novel Dracula.
Uite și picioarele de la mese sunt tot cu lei. Hai să vezi, sunt tot cu lei. Ai văzut, Amalia? Uite, picioarele de la mese cu tot cu lei. Erau...
Mattresses were made out of hay.
So you can see that the castle or fortress is actually quite modern. Most of the walls have been plastered and redone. I think that was done in the early 1900s when the relative of the former queen lived here. One of the most pleasing aspects of the castle is this walkway that goes around the entire central courtyard, and in the bottom of the courtyard is a wishing well, or I guess it would have been a real well at the time that people lived here. The castle does have a torture chamber, and in here you can see where they sit you in a chair and give you the screws, or give you the Iron Maiden, which I believe they lock you in with spikes. Unfortunately, this area of the castle required an additional fee, and it wasn't included on our tour. But that's okay. We spent probably an hour and a half in the castle, so we felt we saw most of it and probably the best parts of it.
That was the new one.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Pero en euros, yo creo que son como 15.
That's great ticket price.
And at the end of our tour, we made it to the central courtyard where they had the well.
Trebuie să-i trimit lui Bau.
Ce?
Am fost la castelul lui Dracula. Să fie foarte încântat.
Well, that concludes the tour of the inside of the castle. Next, we're going to go out to the lower levels and walk around the exterior of the castle so we can see it from different angles. And the grounds are very nice. They have a number of different ponds with fountains, tea houses, souvenir shops, and some wide open spaces. But what we'd like to do is we followed this path that took us probably 3/4 of the way around the castle, and you got to see different aspects of it or angles. Castle Bran. So we got to spend most of the day at Bran Castle, and they gave us extra time to walk around the town and souvenir shop. The town itself is nice, but the castle grounds and the castle itself were definitely the highlights. So now we're off back to Bucharest for the start of our trip, the cruise portion, that is. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. And I'm posting every day of our trip, so if you're interested in Viking cruises, you'll get a real feel for it.